Everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today guys, I want to be talking about the biggest mistakes you're going to make as a player in this game. These are traps that we've all fell into, so hopefully I can give you guys advice that'll help you prevent from making these same mistakes with your roster. Before we get into all this guys, as always, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what your thoughts are down below. We are so close to hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark. Guys, I can't believe we made it this fast, this far. Let's see what we can do in the month of November here. It is currently November the 10th, guys. Let's smash that record. All right. First thing on this list, right, we have wasting Zetas. Oh, we've all done this, right? We're all guilty of wasting Zetas. I put one on Bo-Katan, I put one on Cody for different reasons. I was hoping that I could use her with Mandalorians a little bit more, and they were just kind of a throwaway team for me in GAC and did nothing for me. Cody, I had some hopes that he would get a rework or that the Zeta would be helpful, and it never was. This was a terrible decisions on my part. I have Zetas Mar here as well. She has a Zeta that you guys can see I learned from my mistakes where I took this off because it's very here's what it says. While she has no debuff, she has a 100% counter chance. And then it says, and, then it adds, and 60% chance to assist when another ally attacks Sith enemies once per turn. And I don't like that, right? Like, that is very situational. If it was a 60% chance to assist whenever another ally attacks, fine. But Sith enemies, it's just very situational and not worth a Zeta, in my opinion. As always, guys, in the list here, once we confirm this squad, I got ahead of myself, but you all know what's coming next because he's right here on the screen. The biggest mistake you're going to make is if you don't proclaim him as king in every single Star Wars video you ever make. So from the bottom of my heart, Wampa, I love you. You are my king, and if I could domesticate you, I would. BlueStacks is kind of moving slow here, guys. I apologize. All right, so next is I have it called, I called this Unleashed, right? And this is a perfect example of a lot of people are seeing this team, and I've been getting asked so many times, like, when should I get Starkiller? When should I get Starkiller? And the answer is not for a little bit, for multiple reasons, right? Number one is his team requirements are very specific, right? That if you go into his kit here, and we read there is much conflict, right? At the start of battle, if there's no Galactic Legend allies, and he has one Jedi, one light side unaligned Force user, one Sith, and one other dark side unaligned Force user ally, right? So very specific team comp, right? And the optimal team with him is probably this, right? You could argue that we could put, Juani in here for territory wars, but this is, basically the lineup you want to use. The problem is Zetas Mar is not needed for anything, right? She really isn't. Mara Jade is a fantastic character, but again, outside of Starkiller, you're not farming her up for anything. Emperor Palpatine needed for 2 Galactic Legend farms, fine. Old Ben, only going to get farmed up for Jedi Master Luke. So, you have these two characters here, right, where you're not going to farm, like Zetas I only farmed up for this team specifically, right? So I was at a position in the game where I could make an investment not only in the 4 characters for Starkiller himself, and then Zetas Mar on top of that, right? But the modding and Zetas, all that stuff. So what I'm trying to say here is don't jump ahead of yourself because something's new and shiny, right? Let yourself kind of naturally come to that point where you feel that you're ready to start a farm like this. Because a lot of these are going to be cropping up, right? Dr. Aphra, same thing. Starkiller's fantastic, but there's going to be things that benefit your roster a lot more. All right, I have to put this on here. Galactic Legends do not need Relic 8. Nothing makes me laugh more, and I'm sorry if I offend you, but you guys gotta hear this. Nothing makes me laugh more than when I go up against someone who has or I see somebody where they're like, got my first GL and took them to Relic 8 right away. I want to laugh and scream at the same time. They don't need Relic 8. They're already that good. Does Relic 8 make them better? Absolutely. But if you're like me and you're trying to get through this game as efficiently as possible, You don't want to be investing in Relic 8s in your Galactic Legends until you're at the point that you have all of the requirements for Relic 8 done. I cannot tell you guys how many times I see people with Relic 8 Galactic Legends and it set them back because they've used all those resources on a character and then they can't move on to another farm because they've spent everything to get a Galactic Legend at Relic 8. And like, if you're asking me, would this make my characters better? 100%, right? Relic 8 would make all of them better. But they don't need it. Like, don't think that you need to do that right away because the best guy in your arena shard has Relic 9 everything. You're not trying to compete with them. Relic 7 for I'd say 95% of players is perfectly fine on your Galactic Legend. I would even go up to say like 99% of players can get away with Relic 7 on their Galactic Legends because eventually, as you start spending those resources, you'll be able to get to that point where you can invest those Relic 8 materials outside of requirements. So just please, please, please don't relegate your GLs until you've gotten through all the requirements for other things that need Relic 8 or Relic 9 now with Admiral Radis. Alright, this need relics. So this is an interesting one that I wanted to throw in here. And a lot of people, again, kind of similar to this Starkiller situation up here. Everybody is always asking, when should I get, Executor? And, I can get the requirements and I'll get them to Relic 8. Keep in mind, an Executor fleet without relics on Beskar Mando and Cad Bane is not only easier to counter, but it's a target in Fleet Arena. Because if your Beskar Mando is slower, I'm going to target your fleet 10 times out of 10 because it makes my battles that much easier. If your Cad Bane isn't relic, your fleet becomes that much easier. And in Grand Arena, it's even beyond easier, right? Like, off meta counters off the charts when these characters aren't relic. When you're committing to a farm like Executor and other things, but primarily Executor I want to focus on with this is, because I see it a lot, they need the relics. You cannot afford to have these characters at gear 11 or lower, right? Like gear 12 is even too low. Like they need to be relic guys. So I cannot stress enough that when you take on those farms like Executor and Starkiller, some of these things, that make sure you're taking the required characters for that team to the appropriate relic levels, or else you're not going to get the same effect out of that fleet or team. All right, next. Need lifter units. So I recently did some Galactic Legend videos. I'm going to link them in the description below because I think they're pretty good. They kind of give you guys my farming order and then I rank them as well. But the thing with Lord Vader and Jedi Master Kenobi is that without their lifter unit, right, and the lifter unit is Commander Tano for Kenobi and Maul for Lord Vader, without those characters, their kits are not nearly as good. I would say that Lord Vader, and this is without Datacrons, right, take Datacrons out of the equation, Lord Vader without Maul is better than Kenobi without Cat, but Kenobi with Cat is better than Lord Vader with Maul. So I don't know if you guys follow that Lord Vader doesn't need Maul as much as Kenobi needs Commander Tano, but, without Datacrons, this is by far the better duo. The thing is, I've seen a lot of people get Lord Vader, get Kenobi, but they don't have Commander Tano, they don't have Maul, because they rush to get them because they're watching, I said maybe you're watching, Fat Phil, or you're watching Arnold, or some other, content creator out there, and they've got Lord Vader and Kenobi, and you're like, oh, I want them. And you don't realize that you also need Maul, and you also need Commander Tano. So if you follow my farming guide, if you kind of watch my videos, some of the things I recommend to you guys is not to go after Kenobi or Lord Vader until you've got the lifter units, because otherwise you're not going to get the same thing like with the Executor up here. You're not going to get your desired results out of that Galactic Legend, and you'll feel like you got cheated, or you'll feel like you're not going to get the most out of that team. Alright, the next one here, Horde Prestige, guys. This comes up a lot, right? And I preach this, but Prestige is one of those things that we take for granted. That when you have a lot of it, you don't think about it. But as soon as you run out, you hit panic mode because it takes so long to build up. It's something that I buy every single day. I've got like 3,600 Prestige, which is probably plenty for, the upgrades that I need to make in my roster. And I'm still going to continue to buy it because eventually more capital ships will come out and I'll need to make additional upgrades. So Horde Prestige. If you run out of prestige, especially I'm going to point out these two fleets. Obviously before this it's hugely detrimental, but there are people I knew who ran out of prestige for the Executor and were missing key abilities that was going to take them, weeks to get up because of how much prestige they were missing. So, hoard it, hoard it, hoard it. Make sure that you're not wasting it, right? Don't level up garbage fleets. Like my Endurance fleet, my Mace Windu fleet does not have a single upgrade that would require prestige because I've never used it. Alright guys, and this last piece of advice here. Finish farms. And this is one that, look, I've made this mistake where so General Grievous and Magna Guard were requirements for Jedi Master Kenobi, which is why they're at Relic 7 and Relic 5. My B1 Battle Droid, I've had at Relic 4 since the General Skywalker event. I haven't changed him since. I just kept him at Relic 4. And then B2 hasn't moved an inch since the General Skywalker event, and neither has Droideka. One of the big things that, I preach again is efficiency, right? I got my General Skywalker. But now I'm at the point in the game where it hurts me not having relic droids here. And now I'm also at the point where I'm trying to farm for my Lord Vader, right? I'm trying to build more Galactic Legends. And I'm missing two very key characters inside of this droid team. And I haven't come around yet to finishing them because there's just new stuff that keeps cropping up. And if I had them reliced, I could try more things, right? I would feel more confident about what I could do with them. But because they're not relic levels, I really, really struggle with some stuff. I will say, I want to give a huge shout out here to my guild leader, Lita. Lita, man, you got me through the Dooku mission with Gear 12 droids. We got through that with these two droids right here at Gear 12, so you were my hero in that event. It was unbelievable that we did that. But all that to say, guys, finish your farms, right? Don't be like me here and have Gear 12s and then relic characters here. Finish this farm out eventually. Just put it aside and make sure that we finish those farms because your roster is going to be better for it instead of having these random teams with a Gear 11, Gear 12 in there. Just find the time to get those characters to relics, and that way you have a fully you've got a fully fleshed out roster, a roster that you can take full advantage of at all times. But that's it, guys. That's the advice. Just things that I see that people, that I notice in the comments or that I see people asking that I think you really just need to take a hard look at, right? So, again, running through them. Don't waste Zetas, right? That's the, key up here. This Unleashed one, guys, this is talking about that don't see something shiny and go for it right away. Figure out the path that makes sense for your roster of when to farm things and understand that you need all of the pieces to make something work, right? Galactic Legends, don't relegate them right away. Your relegate materials need to be saved for requirements, and then down the road, once you get into that end game, we can start worrying about relegating Galactic Legends. Executor, guys, for primarily Executor, but make sure that you're relicing the appropriate characters for every team you go for. Obviously highlighting the Executor here. We'll make sure that even though these guys aren't Rex, you've got them at relics. Farming Galactic Legends without your lifter units. Just wait. Wait until you've got Commander Tano. Wait until you've got Maul before these guys become a thought in your head, or else you're going to have a lackluster Galactic Legend. Hoard your prestige. We don't want to be running out. And finally, finish your farms, guys. Make sure that we've got those characters at the right relic levels. That's the video, guys. As always, down in the comments, you know what to do. Wampa is our king. King Wampa. Wamp. Whatever you want to say. Thank you all so much. May the Force be with you. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.